The Atlantic really thought they were dropping some masterful diss on Trump with this one, didn't they? But what they don't understand is that, ironically, they made one of the best Trump memes of the entire election cycle. How can you look at this cover and not think, wow, that's epic? I mean, let's break it down. The dude in the red hat, clearly Trump, has the Republican elephant caged up like he owns the whole thing. He's at the reins, holding the whip, heading straight toward D.C., and they've got the Capitol in the background, shrouded in shadows. They probably thought they were painting him as some tyrant or dictator, but no. If anything, they made him look more powerful, more in control, like he's the only one holding it all together. And let's talk about D.C. being in this apocalyptic state behind him. Who's responsible for that mess? Not Trump. The darkness engulfing Washington, that's all on the establishment. The swamp monsters have been running wild, and Trump is just driving the GOP circus right into the heart of it to clean things up. The imagery isn't menacing for Trump supporters. It's inspiring. It's almost like the Atlantic forgot their own narrative. Plus, locking up the elephant, that's actually brilliant. Trump isn't just some outsider anymore. He's got the entire Republican establishment under his control, and he's steering that wagon wherever he wants. It shows the grip he's got on the party. And you know what? That's not a bad thing if you're MAGA. None of that is true anymore. Donald Trump can't take Israel's eggplant out of his mouth, but for some reason, the Atlantic won't let him choke on it. Speaking of taking control, if you're tired of the mainstream media feeding you lies, you need to check out my Middle MAGAH YouTube channel. You'll get the real takes, the hard truths they don't want you to hear. What's even funnier is how they completely whiffed on the circus metaphor. If they were really going for it, they should have packed that wagon with clowns. Let's be real, Washington, D.C. has more clowns per square mile than any circus ever could, and none of them are in Trump's camp. That swamp is the clown show, not the man in the red hat. Instead, they gave us something closer to Joker vibes. Dark, chaotic, and absolutely in control of his environment, just like when MAGA tries to paint Kamala Harris as some ruthless, hyper-competent communist villain. Yeah, okay, that's giving her way too much credit. It's almost laughable. This is the same woman who probably struggles to make toast, and they want us to believe she's orchestrating some grand takeover of America? Give me a break. Same mistake here. The Atlantic overestimates Trump's danger and ends up making him look stronger. What's crazy is that the Atlantic has been on this tear for years, trying to warn everyone about Trump's supposed threat to democracy. But when they put out stuff like this, it just makes his supporters dig in deeper. They don't realize that for Trump voters, this image doesn't spark fear. It makes them proud. This is what happens when you live in an echo chamber. They keep trying to demonize the guy, but all they do is make him look like a leader in a stormy world. If you want to get away from the garbage propaganda that magazines like The Atlantic keep peddling, you need to check out my Middle MAGAH website. It's your one-stop source for unfiltered, real news. So yeah, it's hilarious how the establishment left. The corporate bootlickers tried to meme Trump and failed miserably. They really can't meme, can they? What they don't get is that Trump supporters love this kind of imagery. Trump with the whip, the GOP elephant in check, and Washington in the dark. They practically did the work for him. You've got to admit, The Atlantic made one big oops on this one. If they wanted to portray Trump as dangerous and out of control, they ended up doing the opposite. What a time to be alive. This is 2024, where the so-called elites can't even insult someone without making them look more powerful. And if that doesn't show you who's really in charge, then I don't know what will. And also, if you haven't joined the Middle MAGAH Discord yet, you're seriously missing out. Get in there, get the real takes, and join the conversation that matters.
Middle, MAGAH.